I'm Emily Slotnick. I'm with the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. And we are here to talk about the Street Trees for Stormwater project. Gladys, would you like to?
Yes, hi. Good evening and thank you for coming out. My name is Gladys Lebron Martinez and I'm your Ward 1 City Council where you're at today, representing this ward and also where many of these projects are going to take place in the next couple of months or years.
I hope so, yeah.
So, ella es Emily, ella es del Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, ella trabaja en Springfield, eso está localizado en Springfield. Ellos son básicamente los cabecillas de este proyecto, juntamente con la ciudad, nuestras raíces y otras organizaciones. Ella se llama Emily Slotnick. Gladys Lebron, la consejera del barrio número 1 de esta área. Vamos a estar presentando el proyecto de las árboles reverdeciendo a Holyoke.
Okay, so I'm going to give a little bit of a background and I'm going to introduce a few people. So in 2015, the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, where I work, received a grant from the U.S. Forest Service to leverage a state program that is ongoing, which is planting trees in Chicopee, Holyoke, and Springfield. So the project has assisted, our project, now the U.S. Forest Service project, has assisted those three cities in planting trees and designing plans for street trees to reduce stormwater and combined sewer overflows.
Ella le va a decir un poquito del trasfondo del proyecto. Esto se realizó en el 2015, donde el Departamento de los Estados Unidos de Forestal les concedió una propuesta y a través de esa propuesta ellos pueden entonces trabajar con los árboles para reducir inundaciones. A través de las raíces también se pueden filtrar estas aguas que terminarían en el río Connecticut. ¿Qué más se me queda algo?
All right, yeah, sure. So overall, the project has 4 goals. It's to plant trees in the 3 cities. It's to design street tree installations that can become a model for other cities in New England for reducing stormwater flows and CSO events. CSO is an abbreviation for combined sewer overflows, and I'll talk a little bit more about those in a minute. Okay, yeah.
So, uno de los primeros sería, algo que se me olvidó mencionar es que este proyecto abarca 3 ciudades, Springfield, Chicopee y Holyoke, y estarían ellos trabajando en estas 3 ciudades. Y como primer tópico, ahí se olvidó. Yeah, I just have my...
That's the second one.
Yeah. So, hay unos cuadritos que están diseñados aquí. Estos cuadritos están diseñados para poner el árbol ahí. Entonces, el agua se filtraría en estos lugares donde los árboles van a estar plantados. So, eso sería uno de los tópicos, que es para filtrar las aguas y evitar que las carreteras se inunden. Oh, okay. So, el segundo tópico sería que, pues, básicamente lo mismo, y que estas ciudades serían el modelo para el área de Nueva Inglaterra. Sería el modelo a seguir.
Okay, goals 3 and 4. Goal 3 is to plant 2,000 trees in the 3 cities over the course of the project life, and finally to hold a public demonstration project, and that's going to happen in Chicopee to model the approach that we're going to be showing you tonight with the street trees for stormwater.
So, la meta número 4 es que han plantado alrededor de 2,000 árboles en general, y estaríamos presentando lo que tienen aquí, pero en chico.
Okay, thank you. I said I would mention CSOs again and explain those. Combined sewer overflows are they're stormwater and sewer drainage systems that flow into the same pipes. They're a relic of older city infrastructure, which we have in many New England cities and towns. And they're known to be large contributors to surface water pollution.
So, la abreviación, el CSO es una abreviación para los alcantarillados. como dije, todas estas aguas llegarían al final al río de Connecticut y pues la gran mayoría de las aguas vienen ya contaminadas por todo lo que arrastre en su camino. Pues como les dije, los árboles servirían para filtrar y evitar que todo esto llegue contaminado.
Whereas street trees, which are the subject of the work we're doing here and going to talk about tonight, they serve as sponges and they filter contaminants in stormwater that gather from surface water overflows. When it rains, the water collects contaminants. The more street trees you have, the more vegetation you have, the more those contaminants will filter out through the groundwater and through natural processes before they get to our rivers.
So, una vez más, los árboles de las calles funcionarían como una esponja donde absorberían todos estos tipos de contaminación y también pues evitaría nuevamente las inundaciones en las carreteras.
So we are about 3 years through the project. We have completed in planting 2,000 street trees. We worked with the Conway School of Design, a class of graduate students, for about a year in coming up with schematic designs to complete street tree planting in the 3 cities. I have 2 copies of that report here. It's Greening the Paper City, and you'll actually see a slide with one of their schematics in there. We have held a number of workshops, one to introduce the project, that was at the end of 2016, I believe. We had another workshop to talk about trees in general and urban tree planting and tree care and maintenance. And then the last workshop was a neighborhood listening session. So my predecessor, who was running the project at that time, and the Conway students presented the Conway designs and solicited feedback on those designs. That all happened end of 2016, early 2017.
Yeah. So, como mencionaron, aquí hay unos planos que fueron diseñados por los estudiantes de Conway. Ellos estuvieron aquí. La primera sección fue para introducir el proyecto, de qué se trataba. La segunda sección fue para decirle a la comunidad cómo es que se puede cuidar los árboles. La tercera sección entre la comunidad fue para adquirir información de lo que la comunidad quería ver, y ya la cuarta sería esta, que es la final, y todo esto ocurrió dentro del periodo del 2016 y en el 2017, estas reuniones.
So after we presented the Conway School designs and gathered feedback on those, the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission undertook a competitive bid process to hire an engineering firm that would take those designs and translate them into actual engineering plans for implementation. And DCI, Design Consultants Incorporated, is who we hired. Thank you. And I'll introduce Mike here in a moment, but they are our consultant to use the feedback from city partners, from our public meetings, and from other ongoing city projects and plans to design the street trees.
So, como resultado, ellos contrataron a un ingeniero para que entonces estos diseños que nosotros vamos a ver en el día de hoy se puedan realizar en la ciudad. La persona que se contrató fue la persona que va a presentar la presentación. Él se llama Mike. Dentro de poco él va a estar discutiendo un poco más sobre lo que va a enseñar.
Yeah, so I'll run through some introductions here, and then I'm going to hand it off to some of our partners. So again, Mike McManus with DCI. He's the project manager. I'm sorry, Michael Clark with DCI, project manager on the consultant side. We have Mike McManus. He's the director of superintendent of public works in Holyoke. We have Andrew Smith, conservation director and sustainability director in Holyoke, and Marcos Marrero, director of planning, the city of Holyoke. Jerry Kim, thank you so much for being here. Jerry Kim has done our outreach and is a huge part of this meeting, thankfully, as our translator. And I don't believe our DCR partners came tonight, but Sarah Greenleaf and Rachel DeMatt are representatives from DCR, and they participated in the street tree planting, so they may show up. But that's our team. I wanted to give Mike McManus a moment to talk about how this project and this work folds into other ongoing CSO projects. Sorry, I didn't give you any.
So ella introdució a las personas, él es Mike Clark, el diseñador, el contratista que ellos contrataron para la ingeniería. Tenemos aquí también a Andrew, que es del departamento de ambiental aquí en la ciudad de Holyoke. Tenemos a Marcos Marrero, el director de desarrollo de negocios. Tenemos a mi persona, que es la persona que ellos utilizaron para hacer el reclutamiento de personas aquí. De momento no está Raquel, Rachel, que ellos son parte de DCR. Ellos también forman parte de este proyecto. Ellos son las personas que estuvieron plantando los árboles. Puede ser que ellos pasen por aquí más tarde. Y Mike, él trabaja aquí en la autoridad de acueductos.
All right, thank you. Yes. So Mike's going to say a couple words here.
So all throughout the city, we have combined sewers. Some areas have been separated, but the majority of the city still has these combined sewers, which cause overflows into the Connecticut River.
So, alrededor de la ciudad hay alcantarillas, todas están conectadas, pero tenemos un problema de inundaciones y pues se está trabajando en ese problema.
And these the tree box filters are a way that the city can take some of that rainwater and have it infiltrate into the ground and not go into the sanitary sewer.
So, las cajas de los árboles serviría como para filtrar esa inundación y pues ayudar a que cuando el agua llegue a las alcantarillas no se desborde, y esto serviría más bien para atrapar el agua y que se absorba ahí mismo y no se desborde, no se inunde.
And while this project is focused on Newton Street and Center Street, we plan on taking this and using it as a template throughout the city, whether it's Linden or Beach or Hillside or Tokeniki.
So, ellos han escogido ciertas carreteras, como la carretera de Newton y la carretera de Center Street, como modelo a seguir para otros lugares en la ciudad de Holyoke.
Great. Thanks, Mike. And then, Andrew, did you want to say a couple words about how this work sort of folds into other conservation?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can talk a little bit about the work with the street tree planting. Basically, this matches the effort that we have to reforest most of. As you look around downtown Holyoke, you see there's a lot of places that used to have trees. There's empty tree pits. There are some street tree, sort of tree boulevards that are missing, right? So what we've done in the past, say 3 years, is we've gone through and we've selectively targeted areas that have low canopy, and we've been trying to increase the canopy working with our DCR partners.
So, básicamente, él está hablando sobre el proyecto de los árboles. Ellos han localizado lugares en la ciudad de Holyoke donde no hay muchos árboles. Algunas veces podemos ver en la caja del árbol, pero sin el árbol. So, ellos están tratando otra vez de que estos lugares sean reverdecidos con árboles.
So, for example, over Center Street, which is one of the locations that was selected, that part of town only has between 5 and 10% tree canopy coverage, and a lot of that has to do with the way the streets are laid out.
So, por ejemplo, en la calle de la Center Street hay un porcentaje bien pequeño en lo que es lo verde en esa calle. So, ellos están buscando áreas donde estén así para reverdecer.
So what we've done is we've planted about 1,500 trees, and the goal is to increase the tree canopy in areas that don't have trees. And work like this is a natural way of continuing that reforestation effort downtown.
So, ellos han plantado alrededor de 1.500 árboles y la meta es de reverdecer estas áreas que han tenido árboles anteriormente, pero ya en el día presente no tienen árboles. So, la meta de ellos es volver a reverdecer estas áreas.
All right.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so now we're going to get to the meat of the presentation. Mike, it's on you. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hola. That's the limit of my Spanish. I'm sorry.
So, él va a estar presentando aquí. Él dijo hola y no sabe mucho español, pero entiende un poco.
So, I'm going to try to keep it simple so the translation is easy. This is the mission. It's to implement green infrastructure at locations the Conway schools recommended in order to reduce the flow to the combined sewers.
So, esa es la misión. Es básicamente de implementar áreas. Todo tiene que ver con lo verde. Tratar de reforestar estas áreas juntamente con los estudiantes de Conway para reducir el desborde de agua.
So I'm going to briefly talk about how the tree filters work.
So, él va a estar hablando de cómo los árboles pueden filtrar y cómo esto trabaja.
Show you what they look like and explain to you what's going on in each street. And then I think everyone's seen the plans with the photos, so that, I'll be here afterwards to talk to anyone who's interested in what's going on in the individual streets.
So, él les va a enseñar a ustedes cómo se ven estos árboles, cómo es que funcionan y cómo es que están trabajando esos árboles para evitar ese desborde de agua.
So this is me, I'm a professional engineer.
So,
I've been
ese
doing,
es él.
sorry.
Ese es un ingeniero profesional.
Been designing green infrastructure for over 20 years.
Él ha estado diseñando infraestructura verde alrededor de 20 años.
I'm a stormwater geek, so I love all things associated with stormwater.
So, él es fanático de estas cosas, so él se pasa.
And just to give you a little kind of local connection, I'm a UMass forestry and engineering grad.
So, eso es parte de su trasfondo en UMass. Él estudió parte de ahí.
Okay?
Ingeniero.
Okay, so this is kind of my agenda.
Esa es su
Let
agenda.
me go to the other side so she can see it better. Can you guys both see? Okay. I'm going to talk about my experience, what the problem is here.
So, él va a hablar sobre la experiencia y lo que es el problema aquí.
Conceptual solutions, so just explain what we're trying to do.
So, explicar las soluciones que ellos quieren hacer en estas áreas.
And then talk about the benefits to the city,
Hablar sobre los beneficios de la ciudad, a la ciudad,
the individual streets,
las calles individuales.
and then talk about the tree box filters and the tree trenches.
So, van a hablar sobre las cajas de los árboles y trinchera, ¿verdad?
Yeah. And we'll have questions and answers, but please ask questions as we go along. I don't want you to forget your question.
So, luego van a estar haciendo preguntas y van a estar respondiendo a esas preguntas, pero si tienen alguna pregunta durante la presentación, pueden hacerla para que no se les olvide su pregunta.
So you can see, I'm really a stormwater geek. That's my daughter. We took pictures of her on Horace Pavement.
So, esa es su hija y como pueden ver, él le encanta su trabajo.
Okay, so some examples. What we're trying to do is have the stormwater on the streets, which is contaminated with a lot of debris and contaminants, go over to planted areas and go through the ground, so where the water is both treated and then infiltrated back into the ground.
So ahí tenemos algunos ejemplos de lo que quieren hacer y cómo es que estos ejemplos trabajan para recoger las aguas que están recogiendo todo tipo de contaminación, recogerlas y reunirlas en esa área, y asimismo la tierra misma va a absorber esa agua y va a evitar inundaciones.
This is a tree trench, and you can see where it takes all the water from this parking lot and it all gets infiltrated in the ground, just like the one in the parking lot.
So eso es una trinchera de árboles y como pueden ver, todo el agua que se recoge en el estacionamiento viene y se reúne en el centro y es absorbida.
This is another one where the water goes into the catch basin and then into this planted area, over into this next planted area, and then there's a infiltration catch basin there where it can go in and infiltrate back into the ground.
So ahí tenemos una alcantarilla, esa alcantarilla recoge el agua y eso va directamente a esa área que está ahí y toda esa área va absorbiendo el agua.
Just so you know that this is going on in a lot of places, this is Leominster, it's a stormwater park. We have stormwater devices there that the city wants everyone to go see, and signage and that type of thing.
So esto como la última que él señaló, todo está ocurriendo en todas las áreas y eso es un parque donde se recolectan todos estos tipos de agua y la ciudad quiere, ¿verdad?, que lo vean y vean cómo trabaja.
Okay, so the problem, naturally you have the water falls down and half of it goes into the ground, very little runs off into the streams, and then a lot gets evaporated back into the air.
So, tenemos el problema, la mitad del agua es absorbida por la tierra, pero entonces el resto del agua ha sido evaporada y se pierde esa parte del agua.
So in the city, everything is impervious, so no water goes into the ground. You get a reduced evapotranspiration, 15% infiltration reduced, and then the runoff is much greater. It's almost half of the water runs off.
So, el problema en la ciudad es que casi todo en la ciudad está en cemento. Hay muy pocos lugares donde el agua puede ser absorbida y todo está conectado con alcantarillas y todo esto, entonces pues no toda puede ser recolectada a la misma vez y es ahí donde ocurren las inundaciones.
So in Holyoke, you have combined sewers. When you have a big rainstorm, the stormwater mixes with the sewer water, doesn't get treated, and it goes directly into the river. So what we're trying to do is reduce that.
So, el problema con la ciudad es que todas las aguas se reúnen, las aguas contaminadas, y ellos quieren tratar de filtrar estas aguas para beneficio de todos nosotros, pero hay un problema.
Sure.
So, does the sewer water, would that happen, does it back up into people's, like, water,
Into the basements?
yeah, faucets and stuff?
So do you have that problem, Mike?
Sometimes.
Yeah, so the rainwater can make that happen. Okay, so we want to keep it out of the sewer for reasons like that and reasons about it not going into the river.
So, la pregunta de ella fue que si estas aguas que no se ocurren en inundaciones se van. Él preguntó a uno de sus compañeros que si estas aguas contaminan, llegan a meterse en sus casas. Él dijo que sí, hay a veces que se meten en sus casas.
Okay. Combined sewer, when it's dry, the water runs to the sewer treatment plant.
So, esa es la combinación de alcantarilla. Cuando se seca, el agua va dirigida hacia un canal.
Okay. When it's raining in a combined sewer, you add the stormwater, and you can see it will overflow
So,
into the river or water, full of things you don't want to swim in and that type of stuff.
So, como ven, hay una tubería que sale debajo del edificio, eso es tubería pues que consumimos y desechamos. Entonces cuando llueve, esas dos aguas se reúnen bien contaminadas y ambas van directamente al río. Entonces esas aguas que están contaminadas van directamente al río y es ahí donde se contaminan las aguas y a veces no podemos entrar y disfrutar del agua como uno meterse al río porque las aguas están contaminadas.
So if the city wanted to take care of this problem, one way, the traditional way, is they build a new storm drain system, separate it, tear up all the streets, a lot of construction, and a lot of money. What we're going to be able to show is there's other ways to do this, to take the water out of the combined sewers that's more effective and less expensive.
So, una de las cosas que la ciudad podría traer solución costaría mucho dinero, costaría prácticamente rehacer las carreteras y conectar todas estas cosas y eso costaría mucho dinero. So, ellos van a estar demostrando diferentes maneras para evitar, para conseguir una solución.
Okay, this is conceptual what it looks like. You see a tree. It's in a small bed in the sidewalk next to the street. And the surface of the bed is 6 inches to a foot lower than the sidewalk.
So, eso es un ejemplo. Recogería el agua. Ahí hay una cama donde 6 pulgadas a pie, donde estaría ahí la parte de la vegetación.
The stormwater goes into the bed, then it infiltrates into the engineered soil where the water is treated, and then it infiltrates into the ground.
So, las aguas entrarían, pasarían por el proceso de filtración y estarían pues bajando y absorbiendo todo este tipo de agua. She has a question.
Are these also known as bioswale?
Biosoils, bioretention, rain gardens, a whole bunch of different names. Kind of sticking with the terminology of the Conway School. It's a good question. And then when it rains really heavy, the water can fill this up and then continue to run off to the nearest catch basin.
So, cuando llueve fuertemente, eso se llenaría ahí. Lógicamente el agua que sobre bajaría a la alcantarilla más cercana.
Okay. A biocell like this can reduce the water runoff about 35 to 40%.
So, algo así reduciría absorbería como un 30 o 40% de agua.
Thank you. Okay, here's another picture, same thing.
Eso es otra
Okay,
foto
the
de lo
tree.
mismo.
Sorry. The plants, the inlet into the bed,
So, es prácticamente lo mismo. Tenemos el árbol, tenemos las plantas,
and then the soil,
la
which
tierra.
interacts with the plants to treat the water, absorb the contaminants, and then the water again infiltrates back into the ground.
I just had a question. Are there any ideal species for the other plants besides the trees that are related to like perennials or low maintenance?
Yeah, so there's a whole list of different plants. Obviously, they have to select plants by hardiness on. But
So, él está preguntando que si hay diferentes tipos de maneras de plantas que
And
se
then-
puedan utilizar.
they have to be drought tolerant because these soils can dry up, and also have to be able to tolerate wet feet for short periods of time.
So, los tipos de plantas que se podrían estar plantando ahí son plantas que toleren la sequía, pero también al igual cuando llueve mucho.
So in the urban environment, by the street side, we try to do trees and perennials because they don't get damaged by snow as much as shrubs would and those types of other plants.
So, ellos tratan de escoger plantas que puedan absorber todas estas cosas y pasar por el proceso del invierno.
This is a tree filter, and these tree filters are in concrete boxes. They're built by certain companies, and we use them in locations that we don't have a lot of room, but we need to maintain access on the sidewalk for handicapped individuals.
So, eso es una caja donde la caja del árbol ahí es donde entraría el agua y ha sido se hace filtrar.
They do the same thing, the water goes into there, the ponds in the open space, the soil and the tree treats it. In some of them, the water goes into the ground, and others it's collected and drained to the pipe system.
So, tenemos el proceso, el agua ha sido recolectada, tenemos el proceso donde se filtra, donde una ha sido absorbida, entonces la otra parte que sobra pasa por el proceso de las alcantarillas.
So in Holyoke,
Is there a specific species of tree that is particularly good at filtering?
yeah, all the trees that you put in the plant in there themselves are good. They're really picked for the environment they have to live in, because it's a pretty harsh environment. And like I said, it gets really droughty, and it's much droughtier than normal because there isn't a lot of water in those soils. They're fairly coarse.
So, ella preguntó que si hay ciertos tipos de árboles que funcionan para recolectar mucha agua.
And then they become, again, a flooded part of the year, so the trees are selected on that basis.
So, prácticamente el árbol es bastante flexible en eso porque recolecta muchas cantidades de agua.
We did the engineering analysis, and these are the benefits we found.
So, ellos hicieron el análisis ingeniero y esos son los análisis que encontraron.
So we're removing 4.5 acre feet, or 1.5 million gallons of water per year from the combined sewer.
So, ellos están removiendo de 4.5 de acre de agua o 1900
1.5 million
Yeah,
per year.
1995 cubos de agua alrededor de un año.
That equates to reducing runoff by 50 to 80%.
So, eso equivale a un 50 a un 80% de recolectación de agua.
We also reduce sediments to the system by over 5 tons a year.
So, estarían también evitando el sedimento de terreno.
And by sediments, I mean the sand from sanding is the first one everybody picks up, but trash, leaves, grass clippings, materials such as that. So that gets removed and is caught on top of the ground surface.
So, cuando él habla sobre el sedimento de terreno, estarían hablando sobre tierra, basura y todas estas cosas que están en la superficie.
This project is removing 38.8 pounds per year of nitrogen and 4.3 pounds per year of phosphorus.
Este proyecto estaría removiendo un 38.8% de nitrógeno a través del año completo y un 4.34% de fósforo alrededor de un año.
These nitrogen, phosphorus are components of fertilizer, so you're not putting it into the water and causing plant growth in the rivers and then ultimately the Long Island Sound by removing these.
So, prácticamente basura, raíces que se cuelan así, estarían removiéndose.
And 80% of the bacteria is removed, so that means the waters become more swimmable and more drinkable.
Un 80% de bacterias sería removida, lo que significa que las aguas estarían más filtradas y más saludables para que una persona pueda disfrutar de ellas.
Okay, the basic site location.
Esa es la localidad.
116, whoops. Well, I went to the two different. The High Street and Newton Street, sorry, right in here.
So, la calle High y la calle Newton,
And Center Street.
la calle de Center Street en las flats.
So this is High Street. And which one is the High Street plan there?
Oh, yeah.
No, right over there.
So, esa es la carretera de High Street.
Should be able to pick it up, but I
Por
can't.
aquí tenemos uno de los diseños de High Street. So, no sé, Center.
I think it's the one.
Right there.
Yep.
This one, yeah, this one.
Okay. So we have, High Street has wide sidewalks.
So, la carretera de High Street tiene amplias
Yeah. Right in the center of town.
aceras.
Okay. So we have to maintain at least 4 feet of access for handicapped individuals.
So, ellos tienen que mantener al menos 4 pies de anchura para las personas
We have plenty of room. We have 10.
tienen ahí pies para las personas que utilizan ruedas, silla de ruedas.
So the water comes down the street,
So, el agua va bajando por la carretera
enters through an opening here.
y entra por ahí, por ese lugar que él señaló.
There's a little catch basin in there to catch the debris.
Hay un pequeño lugar donde se recogería la contaminación.
And a hood so that the trash and the nip bottles can't go into the,
Es como, sirve de filtro para que las botellas de agua, la basura, no entren por ahí.
so this, it helps keep this clean and reduces the maintenance.
So, eso lo ayuda a mantenerse limpio.
This right here is a little, small piece of concrete the water spreads out on, so there's no erosion.
So, eso ahí esto es concreto.
This is the 2 planting beds. They have a small concrete wall in between them, which supports the little concrete curbs on both ends.
So, en la otra parte tenemos el área de las plantas.
And then some brick pavers, which are porous and lets the water run through them in this area in case a car stops there and they have to open the door and let someone out.
So, esa parte que tiene muchos cuadritos serían ladrillos que servirían de entremedio para absorber también agua, porque tienen las rejillas entre ellos.
This is High Street farther down, the same exact thing.
Eso
But
es.
this is a parking spot right here. So this is much more effective. You know, the door opens and they're not stepping into the planter, they're stepping onto the sidewalk.
So, eso es la calle de la High Street también, más abajo. Básicamente lo mismo. El área de los ladrillos serviría para que las personas cuando abran la puerta del carro no caigan directamente al área de la plantación.
This is Newton Street. So one of the things we wanted to do was some traffic calming, make the street a little less wide, make people slow down. So we bumped these out 7 feet.
So, esa es la calle de Newton y la calle de Newton es bastante amplia y ellos quieren que las personas vayan más despacio en sus carros. So, ellos han hecho como unos muertos para que las personas no vayan tan rápido.
And just a larger planting bed.
Y eso ahí es un área de vegetación, un área verde.
Can I ask, so on Newton Street, is it gonna be on the side where the little houses, the cottages are at, or on my left?
So this starts where the moving company is,
I'm sorry, U-Haul?
right?
By the U-Haul?
I'm getting mixed up.
Yeah.
Yugo, yeah.
What, New?
U-Haul, you got it.
Yeah, okay, I'm right.
Oh, okay, so it
Yeah.
starts from there?
And then we go down
Okay.
towards the neighborhood, and the neighborhood would be the later on sets of this.
So, eso empieza desde el centro de donde las personas guardan sus equipajes de lujo, empieza desde ahí y termina hasta el final de la calle donde están la serie de edificios.
So as we designed this, we had to consider a lot of things. One of the things is utilities. You can see the gas line, this line right here running in the street. We wanted to make sure we didn't bother that, so that's one of the reasons why that's where the width it is.
So, ellos cuando tomaron esta parte tomaron en consideración de que por ahí pasa una línea de gas, tomaron en consideración, midieron bien para que su estructura, cuando vayan a hacer su estructura, no choque con esa área.
And then another big thing again is handicap access. We have to keep a 4-foot wide lane clear that can have an occasional 3-foot interference.
So, siempre tomando en consideración las personas que están en silla de ruedas necesitan tener al menos de 4 pies de ancho.
Oh, so this is farther down, at the next intersection.
So, eso es más abajo.
Very similar.
Sección muy
Um,
similar.
Okay, we have, across the street, we have another one here, and you can see we had to play with the sidewalk a little bit to make sure we kept our 4-foot access.
So, como pueden ver en esa intersección ahí, ellos tuvieron que jugar con el área del amplio para siempre tener en cuenta estas personas que están en silla de ruedas.
I should have put those in order so I knew which one I was looking at. Okay, so this is just on the other side. Oh, this is the one we just saw. Make sure I go in the right direction. So these are farther down.
Esos son más adelante de la misma calle.
We bumped out the street a couple feet, 3
So,
feet.
ahí están los muertos, donde reduciría la velocidad de los carros,
Maintain the access,
el mantenimiento al acceso,
and tried to make these a little bigger to get more trees in.
y en esas áreas tener el área de las plantas un poquito más grande, porque hay mucho espacio.
Oops. Okay, this is Center Street.
Esa es la calle de Center Street en la Flat.
This is a little bit different. So here we did another bump out.
So, eso es un poco diferente. Ahí hicieron, elevaron un poco más el lugar de la acera.
This is one of the tree filters we're talking about,
Eso es uno de los cajas donde se filtra
as
el
well as
agua,
this.
igual que
And
ese.
you can see that because it has a concrete surface and a walkable grate, we were able to maintain the 4 feet. That's why we went with the tree filters there.
So, en esa área hay cajas de donde van árboles. Fue más fácil porque pueden tener el acceso para las sillas de ruedas. Ya eso
Okay.
estaba puesto ahí.
And this tree filter is attached to a underground plastic chamber where the water goes into it and gives it more area for the rainwater to infiltrate.
So, eso está diseñado donde hay un área donde se recolectaría el agua que viene pasando por ahí.
Again, Center Street, it's the same exact thing.
Lo mismo en la Center Street,
The bump out with the tree trench,
está elevado con el área de la
and then
plantación
the tree box.
y la caja de donde van los árboles que se filtraría el agua.
Farther down,
Más adelante
we're using more tree boxes
están
Because-
utilizando lo mismo
because of the pavement widths. We wanted to get the tree filters in there, but we wanted to maintain the access.
So, básicamente lo mismo, más cajas de filtraciones de agua, elevaron un poquito el pavimento por el acceso.
Oops. That's Center Street again. Very similar, just farther down the street.
Igual,
Again, down the street some little more.
un poco más adelante de la carretera.
Yeah. So this is a tree box filter.
So, esa es la caja de la filtración del agua.
It's a concrete box.
Es una caja de concreto.
This one has one side that's all concrete and 2 legs in the back.
So, esta tiene dos áreas que son de concreto y dos
So this side is concrete down, you can break down in here. And this end and this end are supported by concrete legs.
So, So, las áreas que él estaba explicando tienen dos partes que son en concreto y dos partes que sirven de concreto, pero son como piernas para hacer soporte a la estructura.
This allows the tree roots to grow out of the box and gives the tree more room to grow.
Eso permite que las raíces del árbol crezcan un poco más afuera de la caja.
This tree box filter also has a little catch basin to catch sediment.
So, tiene también un área pequeña para coger sedimento.
Because this is a public project and these are proprietary items that companies make, we have to come up with 3 different companies that make similar things. This is another one, and it's basically in a concrete box.
So, como esto es un proyecto público, básicamente estuvieron, aquí tenemos lo mismo, pero diferentes maneras de hacerlo, diferentes agencias que lo hacen, pero básicamente lo mismo.
We've written the specifications to push the contractors towards the open sides so that the trees have a better chance of survivability.
So, ellos estuvieron escribiendo a diferentes compañías para que el árbol tenga más espacio.
So this is what they look in neighborhoods.
So, eso es lo que se puede ver en
Water comes down the street,
el agua viene,
goes into that little opening,
se introduce en ese pequeño roto,
down into the ground,
va hacia el suelo.
okay? And this one you can see part of the box top is used to make up the sidewalk with.
So, parte de la caja de allá es parte de la acera.
And then in this one, the client decided they wanted to go around it.
So, en esa aquí, se diseñó para que el agua, pues, pase por encima de
This
él.
was an assisted living facility.
Eso es un lugar de vivienda.
So this is the tree trench again.
So, eso
This
es,
is looking down at it from the ground, the plan view.
so eso es donde, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Esa
go
es la
ahead.
parte de que se utiliza sin ninguna cobertura, solamente el área de plantación.
So this is the street, the water comes down to here.
So, el agua va pasando por ahí.
This is that little catch basin we talked about.
Ese es el pequeño agujero de que se habló.
It has an opening in the side along the curb.
Tiene un agujero por el lado.
The water and trash get caught in it.
El agua y la basura se filtran.
You know, here's the splash pad,
Ese es el área donde entraría el agua.
and then the plants.
Están las plantas.
And there's little openings to allow water, rainwater from the sidewalk to go into the tree trench.
Entonces, el lugar que él señaló sería básicamente el lugar final para que el agua que sobre pase por ahí.
And again, this is in a parking area. You can see the small sidewalk so people can get in and out of their cars.
So, eso no es un área de estacionamiento, eso es más bien para que las personas tengan la accesibilidad de bajarse de sus carros y no interferir con la estructura de la
This is one where there's really no parking allowed next to it.
So, esa es una donde el estacionamiento no está permitido que esté al lado.
And here's what they would look like.
Y así es como se vería.
Perdón.
Go ahead, sir.
Lo que yo tengo entendido, aunque llegué un poquito tarde, es que sería una caja de agua por año.
Sí.
Por eso es que el presupuesto es costoso.
So, he's just saying that it's only a box for one tree. That's right?
Yeah, it's
So-
only a box for 1, 2, or 3. Some of them are, hold on a second. See, this one is longer.
So, esa es más.
Uno, dos, tres.
Sí,
These are small, so one tree.
yes, okay.
And these are perennial plants.
Esos son plantas
Sí.
Sí.
medianas, así.
Yeah.
I have a question. How were these places selected and for what reason? I mean, is it because there was more of floods there? What's the question, how did we come up with these places?
So there were the two things, the Conway School, and please jump in, Emily, if I get this wrong. The Conway School, as part of the exercise, not the exercise, but the project, looked at locations where they thought they would be effective to capture rainwater, okay? And they looked at it more conceptual basis. And then we looked at it, so they had a bunch of locations, and then we went out and looked at every one of their locations. And some of them we had to say no to because there were driveways, there wasn't enough room. There might have been utility pipes running through there, we might have had to move them slightly. So that conceptually they were picked to capture stormwater, which is their primary focus, to reduce the amount of water going into the CSO. Secondly, do you know why each of the three streets were
Yeah, so I was just going to say there's two other things. The tree canopy was part of the consideration, what areas are lacking tree canopy, and then which areas are combined sewer overflow areas. So not every street sewer in the city is hooked into, not every stormwater grate or pipe in the city is hooked into combined sewer, but some are. So that was another part of the consideration. Look at areas where there are combined sewer overflows, where the stormwater overland flow, when you get a heavy rain, the water that does impact the combined sewer overflow systems. So those areas were prioritized.
So Newton has that already and Center Street has it?
Center Street has been separated, but Newton and High Street do have that.
And then also, from my perspective a little bit, it's kind of a good demonstration project for the city because High Street is, commercial and retail district. Then we have, Center Street, which is, one end is commercial, the other end is really intense residential. So you've got locations where people can go and look at examples of where they are in different places.
And we also picked streets that we will likely repave in the near future.
I was just curious, it has nothing to do when Newton Street had the sewer issue that pipes broke throughout the street and all of that? That has nothing to do with that?
When did that happen?
Several years ago, about 4 years ago, you probably before your time, but they had to do a lot of work in there, so I was just curious about that.
It may have. I wasn't at the early public meetings. It was my predecessor at that point, but the first two public meetings would have collected input on probably location, and so that could have been brought up, and that could have contributed to it. I can't say exactly.
Sir.
Ok, sí, yo tengo una preocupación y es la siguiente. Estoy viendo en lo que ha demostrado hasta ahora que los huecos para poner los árboles son muy pequeños y tenemos que tener en cuenta que estos árboles van a estar por ahí 30, 40 años aproximadamente y va a tener un grosor más, entonces vamos a trabajar 2 veces y el trabajo de ahora no va a ser tan efectivo dentro de 40 años.
So he has a concern that he thinks that the boxes are really small and these trees are going to be there for years and the trees are, going to expand their roots. So he thinks that that will be double work.
That what?
Double of work. Because the trees are going to keep growing and the boxes are really small.
Well, there has to be maintenance.
Tiene que haber mantenimiento para eso.
And the trees are selected to only go to a certain height.
Y no cualquier árbol va dentro de esa caja, van a ser un tipo
Específico, un
Exacto.
específico.
Donde
Okay,
no van a crecer mucho,
Okay.
ya están nivelados
Yeah,
a
okay,
cierto nivel.
perfecto. Gracias. Thank you.
Ajá.
I hate to be a pessimist, but I always think of this, but I know that this will take so many gallons of water, but how many gallons of water do we really need taken out, and is this enough?
So I don't know. Mike, how many events do you have a year?
We likely have an event every time it rains.
Yeah.
Because it's throughout the city. It's not just these few locations.
And so the way some of the cities have approached it, they've either done full separation. So they go down each street and take out, add a new drain pipe and disconnect all the catch basins, and that you have a whole new pipe in the ground. Or some cities, Cambridge has put in big tanks in the ground that they store and hold the water. And it was very expensive. We're talking 30 feet into the ground. So this is an opportunity to get some data around cost and, be able to compare it so that the town can say, the city can say, this might be a cheaper idea, but also once you clean up the CSOs, you're still going to have to deal with stormwater. Stormwater still has to be cleaned up. And this is one of the most effective ways and cost-effective ways to do it.
So ella preguntó que cuántos galones se recolectaría, se necesitarían recolectar. So, eso es una pregunta que le hicieron a él. Cada vez que llueve es muchísima cantidad de agua que se recolecta y se reproduce. So, este diseño que está aquí pues ayudaría en ese proceso.
So again, one of the things that was important was to try to deliver something that looked good.
So, una de las cosas que se trajo a cuenta es algo que se viera bonito,
Approve on the existing systems.
que se fuera aprobado en el sistema.
So on the tree trenches, we added little catch basins.
So, tenemos, en el área de los árboles tenemos un área donde se recolectaría
So the maintenance there's less maintenance.
para que sea poco mantenimiento.
We're going back. Again, the tree box filters,
Las cajas de filtración
they have smaller trees.
tienen
And
árboles pequeños.
they're, the maintenance is really cleaning out the catch basin that's here,
So, el mantenimiento es básicamente bien básico.
lifting the grates and cleaning out the material inside.
So, sería prácticamente levantando y lo que está encima y limpiándolo si fuera necesario.
And we're starting to find out that the open-sided tree boxes,
So, las partes que están abiertas de los árboles,
the trees have the same longevity as most urban street trees.
tienen la misma amplitud para los árboles, lo que sería una cosa usual, lo normal para los árboles urbanos.
Go to the end again. Any other questions?
¿Tienen algunas otras preguntas?
Una cosa muy importante. ¿Qué duración tiene ese proyecto? ¿Cuándo va a comenzar? Y si la comunidad va a estar involucrada directa o indirectamente.
So how long will this project be? Is the community going to be involved helping planting trees? When would this project will start?
I can't answer that one. Any idea on the progress?
So, I just wanted to clarify that the grant that we have right now, that this work is happening under, is simply for the design and for sort of gaining energy around the idea and the topic here. We unfortunately can't implement them. As Mike said earlier, the locations chosen were all locations that do have planned street improvements. So the idea is that the city already has plans to invest money in doing work on those streets. If you're tearing up pavement in one area for one project, it's a good time to do another project there as well. Do you have any idea on the
There's no
timeline of
hard
those
schedule.
projects? Yeah, so no hard schedule, but that's sort of our advocacy approach of getting this work implemented is by doing our best to gain energy and educate people about the potential, the benefits, and then also to say, keep an eye on those local projects and and come out and encourage your city officials to fund them.
Thank you.
So, ¿alguien necesita traducción para eso?
I fear that the notion of money and trees right now in Holyoke is a rather cynical concept for some people who are kind of keeping abreast of recent news about how the city spent their money. So is that something that would involve kind of going to city council meetings or planning meetings? I mean, how would the average Holyoke resident who is interested in, you know, advocating on behalf of this, how would they go about following through with?
So we would most likely implement it as we're doing road work. And we have money that comes in from the state every year that can be used for road work, either constructing new work, designing future work, or buying equipment that can be used for road work. What it would be is, the planning department, the Department of Public Works, working together to identify where that type of work would happen and when it would occur in our schedule of roadway maintenance. But if you can always reach out to your ward counselors, counselor at large, let them know that you support this type of project because it does add cost to the road work. But we think there is a benefit for that additional cost.
I would just say two other things when we're talking about additional cost and trying to find ways to fund these types of projects. You guys have an open space and recreation planning process coming up in the city. Andrew Smith here is running that, right?
Correct.
As I gather. So that is a plan that is updated on a 7-year basis, and having an updated plan or a currently active plan is one way to be eligible for certain funds that may be able to go towards this sort of work. The other thing that's also happening with Andrew's group is the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program. It's a state-run program. You're going to look at your vulnerability to climate change and natural hazards. Once that process is complete, you are eligible for a pretty significant amount of state grants that they just committed, I think, $500 million to today in the environment.
50 million is what I read today.
50 million? Okay, 50 million. So statewide. So that, I mean, this would be a project I would think that would be a home run for that funding. It will reduce flooding. It will reduce contamination. It will add tree canopy cover, carbon sequestering, all of those things. So, you know, keep an eye on those processes, participate if you can, and keep these projects on the action list, the to-do list, and sort of, the more you talk about them, the more likely they will be to get funded, that someone will write a grant to bring them in and attach them to one of the public works projects.
And I do want to add that the city of Holyoke has a very good success record with trees. I know there's been news coverage of trees in the paper, but when you come down to the past 4 years, what the city has done with a small idea of establishing a municipal nursery, of planting trees in a targeted area, we went from doing fewer than 5 to 10 trees a year, say 10 years ago, and then 4 years ago it switched over to doing hundreds of trees per season. So when you think of trees, you know, it's okay to have that cynical thought, but it's also okay to realize that when you look at the story of Holyoke, it's actually a really good success story in the past 5 years. And there is a municipal nursery, so the city has access to up to 400 trees that can be planted in any location. I mean, obviously not exclusive for this because it's a special tree and has to go with the manufacturer and everything else. But we're not without options, and we're not powerless to make a change in the tree canopy here in the city. And there's been a demonstrated track record of success. So.
Any other questions on anything you've seen or heard here?
¿Alguna otra pregunta?
thank you all for coming. We did have a sign-in sheet going around, and if you haven't yet, I would appreciate you signing in to let us know who was here and that we had some folks participating. I'm really, really happy that you all came out.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Hay una lista por ahí para que puedan firmar a las personas que no la han firmado. Por favor, si la pueden firmar. Y ellos están muy contentos de que estuvieron aquí.
Gracias.